explained to him, I said, "Sir, I'm not an N word. I am Native American." He goes, "Oh, so you're a light skinned N word. So you still better get back in the truck."
You're watching the Spotlight Network, starring Hollywood's newsman, Logan Crawford.
They now believe a single member.
He works with TV and film legends. And now, Logan's shining the spotlight on the world's top emerging authors and creators.
International were abducted.
This is Spotlight with Logan Crawford, streaming on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire TV.
I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're diving into a story of young love, ambition, and the unexpected turns that shape our lives. We're talking with a terrific author. His name is Dave Covington, and he has penned a powerful book. It is called The Memoirs of Sam and Chasity. Set in Arkansas, this emotional tale follows two young lovers whose seemingly perfect romance faces challenges that test their dreams, loyalty, and strength. Filled with heart drama and deeply human emotion, The Memoirs of Sam and Chasity explores how love can endure or unravel when real life steps in. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today. We thank the team at Good River Print and Media for helping us put him on TV today, and we ask viewers like you to support authors like him by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing his amazing book. The links are below this interview. Dave, thanks so much for joining me here today.
Most definitely. I'm glad to be here, Mr. Logan.
Such a pleasure to have you on the show. This is such a great story. Is it based on real people? Is this a real story in part, at least?
In part, it is. Yes, it is based on me and my wife. I am Native American. My wife really was a nurse, or is a nurse. I was in the military. I spent time in Arkansas, and and I was a special education teacher. So I basically took all of those real elements and placed them into the book, and of course added some fiction to it for storytelling purposes.
Absolutely, absolutely. Tell us about why you decided to share the story.
Well, I decided to share the story more on a cathartic reason. I and my wife have divorced, and um, I just found that I needed to write this story to get a lot of the feelings off my chest, and to deal with some of the childhood things that I dealt with. And I found that putting it in storytelling is just as good of therapy as talking it out. So,
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about the story, about where you guys met and how the love story began, or at least how Sam and Chastity meet.
well, okay. So how the story starts is that Sam is Native American in Colorado. His mom's getting ready to pass away, so she sends him to Arkansas. While he's in Arkansas, he meets up with Chastity in English class in high school. And them being of mixed race, nobody thought that they would ever be together because she's of a higher class than he was. But she found a lot of true love and a true individual in him rather than a lot of the fake people that she had been around. And so she was attracted to him because he was a real person. I mean, he just laid it out as he was. He didn't try to pretend to be anybody else. And so that's what attracted them together.
So they had an initial attraction, and then real life kind of kicks in. Tell us some of the obstacles that they had to endure in the book.
Well, Cassidy, father is an alcoholic, so she's abused mentally and verbally. Sam is Native American. He's losing his mama. He's in a new state. He's trying to get used to being there, but of course, being Native American in the South is not working quite out for him. And so those are some of the struggles that they dealt with. He, like I said, he loves her, she loves him, but the pressure of society in the South, plus her parents, and the alcoholic father places a big dim light on them.
Yeah, yeah, it makes it difficult. Particularly extended family can be more taxing on a relationship than you could imagine, right?
Correct.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Have you envisioned this story as a film, Sam and Chastity's story?
I have. I could see it as more as a kind of a tragic love story. I mean, it's not. I write in realism. I don't write in fairy tale. I. It's not a man saves woman, and they're in the end they're gonna ride off into the sunset. I really do write in realism. So within the book, I do talk about the mental illness that comes about. I do talk about a lot of realistic emotions, realistic situations. And so being that as it is, I could see it played out into a short film or documentary or you know even a bigger film as a tragic love story.
Yeah. I think so too. I think it's a very compelling story, and I think it'd be a great film. So, Hollywood, if you're listening, here's a book that's ready to go. Are you and your wife still friends? Have you been able to keep it amicable even though there's been a break?
Most definitely. We talk to each other, even though she's still in Arkansas and I'm here in Colorado. We still talk to each other every single day, if not every other day. We still vacation together. We see each other whenever we can, and we still love each other, actually.
Yeah.
I have never been with another woman. She's never been with another man, and we've been divorced for 11 years.
Wow. Amazing. Do you have children together?
Actually, she had two prior. We don't have any together, but I
Mhm.
helped raise her kids since they were teenagers.
Yeah. Well, tell us about the difficulties of living in the South as a Native American. Um, I know the South is famous for its prejudices for people of color and so forth. Well, that was one of the stressors on the relationship, right?
Correct. Um, in the story, like I said, Sam and Chassie struggle because she's established and, everyone thinks that she comes from a rich family, but she tries to hide everything. She tries to hide the abuse. She hides the bruises because she wears long sleeve and long shorts and long skirts. And even when, they go out on a date to the river, she's unable to go swimming because she can't be in a bathing suit, otherwise it will reveal the bruises.
Yeah.
So, um, but as far as the racism in the South, on more not the story in real life, I did I did go through that when I moved to Arkansas with Diane. Diane's my ex-wife, and she, you know, it took a while for people to get used to me.
Yeah.
Um, and my my first day there, my father-in-law took me out to a friend's house, and this I got out of the vehicle with my father-in-law, and this gentleman pulled a shotgun out and said, get that N-word back into the truck.
Crazy.
And I explained to him, I said, sir, I'm not an N word.
Right.
I am Native American. He goes, oh, so you're a light skinned N word. So you still better get back in the truck.
Crazy.
I'm like, oh yeah. And so that was my introduction to Arkansas.
Yeah, that's the
Um,
welcome wagon in Arkansas. Somebody pulls a shotgun on you and calls you an epithet. And awful, awful. That's a horrible, horrible thing that happened to you. I'm sorry that happened to you. And I'm sure it was quite traumatic. And certainly, obviously, haven't forgotten it. Is life
no,
better in Colorado? Are Coloradans more accepting of people of different cultures and ethnicities and races?
they are in general. I live in a very small town. My town that I live in is pushing like maybe 6,000 people. And so, yeah, we're a really, really tight community. We get to, um, it's a lot better here, I believe. So, And
Great.
I was in Arkansas for 5 years, and I actually was a special education school teacher in Arkansas. But they don't mind me as a worker,
Yeah.
But as soon as I stepped out of that school, then
Yeah.
yeah, then I had
That's when
trouble.
the rednecks kick in, right? Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. Crazy, crazy. Was your early life in the military? Were you in the military?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about your service.
I went in when I was 19 years old,
Hmm.
and I went to San Diego. I wanted to become a hospital corpsman because I loved medical work. And so I went in, I graduated boot camp, went to A school in San Diego, graduated corpsman school. I learned a lot in corpsman school. Basically, everything I learned in corpsman school would be equivalent to LPN out in the real world. Um, I was stationed in San Diego, and then I got stationed in Pensacola, Florida. I loved working in the hospitals. My favorite was working with pediatrics and med surge. Um, and that's why I started to fall in love with working with kids, was through the hospitals. Even though it was military hospital, they still had a pediatric section. And so,
Yeah. So then you segued from military and medical field to education.
correct.
So what was that like? Did you have to get more education, that kind of thing?
I did. I came home from the military and I wanted to pursue what I had learned in the medical field. Unfortunately, when I came back home, they did not recognize my military training and they told me that I would have to start over again. I
Yeah.
didn't feel like I needed to start over again. So, what I did is years later, I joined the National Guard, completed my National Guard service about 4 years. And then after that, I chose to use my GI Bill to go to college. And that's when I became a special education teacher.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, thank you for your service to the nation. You've served our nation twice. That's so admirable and so wonderful. Um, yeah. Did you enjoy your time in the service?
I did. I did enjoy my time in the service. I wish I would have been able to travel more.
Yeah.
But
Although San Diego's not a bad place to be.
oh no, no,
Yeah.
it's really not.
Yeah.
Neither was Pensacola, so it was
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, you're in good places. Did your service to the nation impact the relationship at all? Was that a strain? Because I know that it can be on families.
Actually, I wasn't married at the time. I was single, and it
Mhm.
was after I was out of my service, out of the Navy anyway, that I met my wife. And then she encouraged me to go on to the National Guards, and she encouraged me to go on to school.
Mm.
I was always I've always been a common person, very simple, common person. And I told her, I'm fine with just working. But she's seen a lot of potential in me and she encouraged me to go back to school. I never was a college person. I was always a C student,
Mhm.
and but she said no, there's more potential in you, and so she encouraged me to get that degree, and
Yeah,
I'm proud of that degree.
you
And
should be. Yeah, absolutely. Are you still working as a teacher?
I am not. Unfortunately, to tell you the truth, I developed mental illness,
Hmm.
and I'm I developed bipolar and schizoid affect disorder,
Hmm.
and that has kind of taken me out of teaching. Um, the other thing is that even though I couldn't be a full-time teacher, I tried to apply for other like substitute teaching or somehow working with kids. But because I'm Buddhist, as you see,
Hmm.
that's another part that becomes racist, shows unfavorable to me is
Yeah.
that I've had several interviews that they said, oh, yes, come on in. You've got a degree, you've got your bachelor's degree, you've got experience. We could really use you. And as soon as I show up for the interview, they look at me and they said, no.
It's amazing how culturally insensitive people can be. What's it like managing your mental illness?
Basically, what I tell people is I manage it through medication and meditation.
Mm,
So I am prescribed medication that I do need to take, but a lot of times, I find that if I can control my thoughts, control my emotions through peace and quiet, and when I meditate, that helps a lot too.
yeah. Yeah, quieting the mind, quieting the soul. I'd imagine that's what Buddhism has brought you as well, a lot of peace, right?
Most definitely, yes, sir. Um, I've been Buddhist for about 6 years now. I've been wearing the robe for at least three, and yep. So
Who introduced you to Buddhism? How did you get involved?
it was it was just kind of a trek that went along. I had a shipmate when I was in the Navy that was Buddhist, so I talked to him, and then I really liked the philosophy, and then as I went along my way in the National Guards, I came across a Buddhist. When I was in college, I had Buddhist professors, and so it just kind of like trekked along, and I just started getting to know more and more about the philosophy, about and so I took a pilgrimage actually to India. I took a pilgrimage to Thailand. And after came back from Thailand and India, I just knew that this was right for me.
Yeah. Wonderful. I know in Christianity there are certain sacraments you have to make, such as baptism, communion, and so forth. In Buddhism, is there a similar process to actually get to become part of the religion? Are there certain services or rituals you have to take part in?
No, not necessarily, because the way I believe, there are some people that, or some things that people think that Buddhist is a religion, and some people view it that way. Other people view it as a philosophy and a way of life.
Yeah.
I'm more of the second viewpoint of the philosophy and way of life. And so, no, there is no true baptism. There is no true, you have to
Rituals you have
do
to
for
go through or
no
anything. Yeah.
rituals to
Yeah.
become Buddhist. You just have to simply commit yourself to following Buddhism. Um, we do have our own scripture. We do have things that we do. We have our rules. We
Yeah.
have our do's and do nots and whatnot. One of the main things that's helped me with Buddhism is that we are encouraged to give merit every day, which it means that giving of our time, our effort, our money, our whatever we can do every day to help somebody else, that's what we do. And by doing that, I found that it helps me because I'm not so much centered on myself. I'm able to give out to others.
Yeah. Moving out of yourself, focusing on others. I think no matter who you are, helps you with your mental balance and your focus each day, right?
Most definitely it does because then I don't so much think about things.
Yeah. Is this your first time writing a book or have you written other books?
I did write a book about 20 years ago, and
Mhm.
it was called Playing in the Dark. And it was more of my elementary school years,
Yeah.
whereas this one is more of my adult life. So,
What was it like writing this book and reliving that relationship with Diane and fictionalizing it into a relationship between Sam and Chasity?
well, my writing style is um, like I said, I write from the heart. I don't just sit there and pound out a story just to pound out a story. Um, so my So I would write off of inspiration. So if I got inspiration, I'd write it down, and then I'd take a break, and then I'd get inspired again and write it down. So it did take a while to do it, and of course, as you well know, You go through several copies and several, okay, corrections. I want to tweak that or tweak this. But but as far as writing it about I and my wife, technically, it felt good. It really did. And my wife has even read the story. Um, she didn't particularly care for the ending, but but uh, um, but she liked the way I wrote the story.
Wonderful, wonderful. It's great to have her seal of approval. And it's great that you guys have such an amicable relationship and friendship still. Are you thinking about writing anything else, anything new?
Yes, sir. I'm writing. It's kind of a follow up, but on so there's two characters. There's Sam, and then he has a son, Clint. And in the book, he gives Clint a journal about the relationship with him with Sam and Chasity. And so in my follow up, Clint is going to take the journal, learn about his mom and dad, and then he's going to eventually fall into the track of Buddhism. And so the second book is going to be more towards the Buddhist journey.
That
So,
will mirror your own life as well.
correct.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. What do you hope people take away from the book Sam and Chasity?
Well, I want them to realize, to understand um, the struggle of teenagers. A lot of times we teenagers get kind of a bad rap of going, oh, this is a kid in trouble. This is disturbed. They're on this, they're on that. They don't pay attention, whatever. Well, a lot of times we don't really know what's going on behind the scenes of these teenagers. And so that's why I wrote the book the way that I did, to show that, Chassie was abused by an alcoholic father. There was turmoil, they have mental illness. And so if we're going to take away anything from the book, I want them to more focus on how reality goes and with mental illness, and not to judge people, because we never know the struggles that other people are going through.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Um, Everybody can look perfectly, quote unquote, normal from the outside, but all of us, like you say, have struggles that we have to deal with. Some are worse than others, some are, more tragic than others, but there are struggles that we all have to deal with. That's part of life. There are ups and there are downs, no doubt. And I think helping people see that is an important aspect of this book. Did your Buddhist beliefs influence your writing of this book at all?
It did. The way that it did, was because of the way that I wrote it. I was calm in the way that in my writing.
Yep.
And like I said, I was able to write from the heart. Yes, it is a story. I am a storyteller, but um, in Buddhism, we focus on the here and now. We focus on the realism. We don't so much focus on the fantasy of what might come, what might be. We
Mhm.
focus on what is. And
Yeah.
so by being able to focus on what is, encouraged me to write the story as is in realism.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's important. Have you started writing your next book, or are you just still thinking about it?
Oh no, I'm about 3 chapters into my next book. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. And
And
how do you see that book helping people perhaps understand Buddhism better?
yes, to understand Buddhism better, but also to realize that um, Buddhist, it's it's a philosophy, it's a way of life. And everybody has their journey to become something, you know, to reach something, whatever their goal may be, whatever their intentions are, we all take a journey. And so that would be what I would want to display in that next book, is that, for them to focus on, okay, so Clint's taken his journey to become, his Buddhist journey to follow the way his father did, because his father's a Buddhist. But, I want people to focus on their journey, but
Yeah,
because a lot of times people are trying to quote unquote keep up with the Joneses, and
yeah.
they don't so much focus on their own self or their own journey. And so
Exactly, exactly. Our inner world, our spiritual world is as important, if or perhaps even more important than our external world and our material world, don't you think?
I agree.
Mm.
I agree.
Yeah,
Um, when I came back from Thailand, I uh, I learned the art of essentialism because when I seen how the people lived in India and how the people lived in the villages in Thailand, and they were happy as all get out, and they hardly had, what we would consider hardly had anything,
yeah,
but they were happy, they were family, they were cohesive. And so I was able to take that philosophy, brought it back to when I came back home to Colorado, and I got rid of all of my materials except for what I actually needed. Of course, I needed certain clothes, certain shoes, and a cell phone and laptop,
yeah,
which is basically what I have.
yeah.
So yeah,
People are caught up in owning so many possessions, and they have so much stuff that they have stuff in storage, you know. And it
yeah,
really is much better to have a simpler, more streamlined life with, like you say, the essential clothing you need, perhaps the essential electronics that you need. Of course, you need shelter and you need food
sure,
and so forth. But if you have so much stuff, you're renting out space to store it, and you'll probably never touch it, never use it, and haven't used it in years. You probably don't need it. And I think that's a
yeah.
problem a lot of people have. They have more stuff than they need, and they're lacking spiritually. And I think the next book that you're working on about Buddhism will be a great gift to people, because I agree with you that you can be Catholic and Buddhist, you can be Protestant and Buddhist, you can be Jewish and Buddhist, because it's more of a philosophy, right?
Correct.
Yeah. And a focus for your life. Wonderful. Well, you've done great work on this book that we've been primarily focusing on today. It is called The Memoirs of Sam and Chasity. It's more than a love story. It's a reflection of life's unexpected turns, the endurance of the human spirit, and the bittersweet beauty of life lessons. It is heartfelt, emotional, and unforgettable.
I'd like to add that I am doing a rewrite of this original book, and
Hmm.
the rewrite will be out on the market this month. Um, I just added more detail and to the book,
Wonderful. Wonderful.
and
So it's
also
basically
I,
a second edition in a way, right?
in a way, yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah. Great.
And then
Great.
and also I will be doing a book signing in Williamsburg, Virginia, in a week. So on
Wonderful.
the
Well, that's
13th.
exciting. It'll be nice to get to meet with the readers and to sign your book. And that's terrific. Well, you deserve all of the accolades you're getting. You deserve all the praise you're getting. This is a wonderful, bittersweet love story. I know it mirrors your own life, but of course, it's novelized. And it is really an unforgettable journey that is highly recommended. The links are below this interview. You can get the original book, and soon a new edition will be out, a little bit of a rewrite with more information, more materials, and more of the story flushed out. So you can look forward to that as well. It's a perfect gift for the holiday season, without a doubt. Dave, thanks so much for joining me here today.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me, Mr. Crawford.
I appreciate your time, your insight, and the wonderful work you've done on this book. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time.